West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another World Cup Daily Show, Under 19 World Cup. I'm one half of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, Machel St. Patrick Hewitt, and you join me as we look at West Indies Under 19 defeat by 138 runs in Game 2 of the group stage against Afghanistan's men's senior side. And I say that, yes, with my tongue firmly in cheek, but let's get straight into it. And you lot can tell me in the comments, whether you're watching this on the replay or whether you're watching this live right now, you can tell me if I'm being salty by saying it. But let's address the elephant in the room first things first. How many of them Afghanistan guys were actually 18 or 19 years old? Let's actually be honest. Let me see if I can find their pictures. Let's be honest and realistic about it. Bare of them guys look like they were old men. Now, to put this in perspective, people, I teach 18-year-olds, right? So the oldest age group I teach is 18-year-olds. 17 and 18-year-olds are in their final year of high school, secondary school before they go off to university, etc., or into the world of work. I know what an 18-year-old looks like. I reckon that at least half of that Afghanistan side don't qualify for the age group. I think they're out of the age range. Some of the honest, and the thing is, I know that some people say, "Oh, Mash, you shouldn't be saying things like this." But come on, let's call it what it is. Some of them man were old out there. We're talking like some of them man looked like they were 30. Cuz you know how like Rashid Khan. If you go on Google right now, Rashid Khan is down. Let me just look it up. I swear Rashid Khan says that he's still 26 years old. Rashid Khan is supposed to be 20. I'm just using Rashid Khan as an example. He's supposed to be 27 years old. There is no way Rashid Khan is 27 years old, right? So using that as an example, and this isn't me drawing the Afghanis out in so much as saying, how dare you do it? If you can get away with it, get away with it. I ain't gonna say they're cheats for it or anything like that. But at least try and be close to the age. Some of them men are out here looking. Some of them men are out here looking like they got like bare pitney, and not like underage teenage father, but just like big hardback man with bare pitney. That's how some of them look, and I'm like, no, what's going on here? Shamar Apple is a 16-year-old youth man, and he's playing against 32-year-old dads. No, allow it, Afghanistan, man. Allow it. Come on, man. You're playing, man, out here celebrating wickets against a 16-year-old khaki pants youth. Allow it, cuz. Allow it. What are Afghanistan doing, cuz? Oh, God. What's going on? Is Shamar Apple 16? Let me make sure I got that right. Shamar Apple 16, cuz. Shamar Apple's 16 years old and he's out here trying to face hardback men. Nah, this is long, cuz. Under 19 World Cup looking long out here. Looking like Afghanistan sent their A team to play in this competition. Allow it, Afghanistan, man. And the thing is, they're a good team. Like, for all the jokes that I'm running, they're actually a good team. Like, anybody who had watched any highlights of their game against South Africa, if you'd watched that game, you surely would have known what was going to happen. Big up everybody who's in the Caribbean Cricket Podcast Discord group, because most of us said after the South Africa game that Afghanistan are going to take us there on Sunday, and they predictably did. Even if West Indies played to their absolute maximum, I don't think they could have won that match. Afghanistan just had one too many assured batters, a bit of extra nous. I thought they managed their bowling resources better. I thought our guys looked a bit out of their depth against the kind of line and length. The Afghanistan bowlers, to their credit, were very disciplined in their line and lengths, and I just thought we kind of looked a bit out of our depth with it. Anyways, there's a super chat from Keshan. Keshan says, "Where's the intro?" The intro. Oh, I don't know. I played it, didn't I? Anyways, I missed it. Mash, I said on another podcast that these men look over 19. Yeah, they're over 19. They're over 19. And the thing is, like, they're not the first to do it. Like this happens a lot in other sports, and like we're not we're not trying to come after Afghanistan and Afghanistan alone. Like famously, Shahid Afridi, he lied about his age for years, right? Shahid Afridi was what? He was like 38 for about 10 years in a row. If you go back to, this is, some of you probably aren't old enough to know this. If you go back to like the 1990 World Cup, when Roger Miller was playing for Cameroon, I think Roger Miller said he was 38 in that World Cup. Roger Miller was probably like 45 years old. For those of you who are Arsenal football fans, Nwanku Kanu, who played up front for Arsenal during the Invincible era, like he was lying, like Bear Man have lied about their age. Who was that other guy who lied about? Was it Obafemi Martins? Bear Man have lied about their age. Do you lot know how old I am? Actually, let me tell you lot a lie right now. If I told you, does anyone actually know how old I am? Get in the comments, people. Obviously, my skin looks young and fresh, but how old do you lot think I am? Because I want to see what age I could get away with and lie about. Because this will give you this is why I'm saying you can't blame the Afghanis, right? Because if you lot put my age younger than I actually am, this is why the Afghani man can lie about their age. Because we don't really know out here. We really don't know. See, 00 Mixtro, hold on, says, where is it? He says 38. The man says I'm a Ute man out here. Judger, Jay says I'm 45. Judger, I ain't, allow me. I ain't 45. Right, again. Yeah, so the point is, I can't blame the Afghan guys, because if I can get away, so Christopher reckons I can get away with saying I'm 37. So if I can get away with saying I'm 37, then enough of them Afghan guys who played in the Under-19 World Cup, who might be like 24, maybe 25, of course they can get away with trying to say that they're 19. Why wouldn't they? Anyways, let's get to the performance. So in the first innings, Afghanistan won the toss, elected to bat. They probably would prefer to chase more often than not, but they elected to bat. Let me just find the scorecard again. And they made 262 for 6 in their 50 overs. Now, the first thing I noticed about this game is we actually went to the side that I thought should have played against Tanzania, right? Which obviously this is our best side. So Jakeem Pollard came in, which I think makes a mockery of what they were saying in that first match about, it was strategic or tactical to not play Jakeem Pollard. So he came back in. And who else? Matthew Miller came in, right? So Miller and Pollard came in for Gittins and Ratcher. And that was the team we saw today was effectively what I think is our best team on paper, right? Now, we started up with pace again. And this is my one critique of how we bowled in this innings, right? I felt like, and I felt this against Tanzania as well. And if you go back and watch the video on after the Tanzania game, I think I said something similar, that it felt like we had already told ourselves what the plan was before and please get in the comments, people. I want to see what other people have got to say about this. But it felt like we were bowling to a preconceived plan. So, right, we're going to start with pace. So Pollard and Bell, you're going to take the new ball. And then Van Lang and Miller, you're going to come in next. And then we're going to turn to Micah McKenzie and Vittel Laws. Now, did you lot notice that when Afghanistan came to bowl, they started out with their spinner? And my thing is this, right? Hear me out, people. If your best bowlers, and we're talking about the West Indies team here, if your best bowlers is Jakeem Pollard, the left-arm pacer, and then your two wrist spinners, Micah McKenzie and Vittel Laws, you don't have to bowl McKenzie and Laws after 15 overs. You can bring them in early. Like, I just felt like I say, this isn't me trying to do hindsight after losing to Afghanistan. I said this after Tanzania as well. Like, you don't have to stick to a preconceived plan. And it felt like we were sticking to a preconceived plan as to when we're supposed to bring the spinners in and then how long the spinner's spell should be, etc. When the game was getting away from us inside the power play, why not think outside the box? Just because a man is a wrist spinner doesn't mean that they're going to get licked down in a power play, right? We've seen enough of Micah McKenzie and Vittel Law's control to suggest that they might be able to bowl inside the power play. And more importantly, they might be able to induce a mistake inside the power play because of their craft with the ball, off pace, on pace, line and length control, flight. Like, between the two of them, is it not worth taking a risk? High risk, high reward? I don't know. It just felt to me like we went with the pace too long. And I felt, like I say, I felt like we did that against Tanzania as well. So we bowled effectively, 13, 14, 15 overs of pace up front. And other than Pollard, no one really had control of their line. And then big up Jakeem Pollard, 10 overs, 2 maidens, 3 for 39, doing exactly what we said he was going to do before the tournament in terms of giving us that control up front and at the back end as well. But Shaquan Bell struggled to find a consistent line. Jonathan Van Lang went searching for his cutters, but it wasn't really working on the surface. Although, in fairness to Van Lang, he got one dropped. Jewel dropped one off him early doors. 7 overs, none for 53 for Van Lang. And then Matthew Miller, the all-rounder, 5 overs, none for 41. So the support, the supporting unit didn't really support. So Pollard did his job, Laws did his job, McKenzie did his job, but then the support 3 didn't really back it up. And I also, at one point, I also wondered, Josh Dawn can bowl, Zachary Carter can bowl. Whether you might not consider them frontline bowlers as such, but both of them can bowl. And I just wondered, again, I was like, you've seen that the support pacers aren't really offering the control that we need whenever they come on to bowl. So is it not worth maybe one of you having a bit of a bowl? And I'm willing to hear, you might say, Mash, that's hindsight analysis. Yeah, I'm willing to hear that. But I just think you've got to be able to think outside the box. That's not a critique of Dawn's captaincy per se, because it's not just Dawn out there, right? You have a think tank behind Joshua Dawn. You have some other players on the pitch who could have possibly did suggest to Josh, maybe we should try something different here. But you get an early sense when you're watching a cricket match of what's not going to work on the day. And I thought it was very clear very early on, right, it's not working for Van Lang. It's not really working for Shaquan Bell. So could we maybe try something else? And the other thing that they also need to think about is, because Vittel Laws and Micah McKenzie have such good control, right, and are obviously attacking spinners, did they have to bowl out all the way through? Did they have to effectively bowl their 20 all in one go? And again, I was just looking at it going, are we not going to hold them back at a bit? And so there was a point, if you were in the Discord group, or if you're in the Caribbean Cricket Podcast Discord group, when Laws came on and pegged back Afghanistan, taking 3 wickets, I think I posted in the Discord group and I said, now would be a good time to hide some of the overs from the pacers. And we just carried on with Laws. Now, let me explain my rationale for that. If you know, and certainly I knew because I was watching what was going on, if you know that your support cast isn't really on the money and they're having a bit of an off day, and you get into a period of play where you're actually, if not on top, certainly controlling the pace of the game, that's when you sneak in a couple of overs from one of your weaker bowlers on the day, so you don't have to come back to them at the back end as much. And I just thought, did we miss a bit of a trick there? We kind of let Laws bowl out, which meant you were always going to have to come back to somebody at the back end who might not be able to do their job. I don't know. So some critiques there. Some critiques, but you can't fault the Afghani batters. Let's call out a few of their men. Mahbub Khan, 86 from 69 balls. I mean, he was the only person in the match to really get to grips with the track. Osman Sadat, at some points, I thought he was playing for his century rather than playing for the situation, but he scored 88 of 131, and they were kind of like the mainstay of the Afghani innings. So well done to them. And Afghanistan, to be fair, Afghanistan men's senior team or not, whatever they are and whatever some of their ages are, they look good to go quite far in this tournament. And we could well, by the end of this tournament, we could well be saying, well, you know what? We lost Afghanistan and they got to the semi-final or they got to the final. They look like a good team. They look like they've got bits of everything that can challenge a good side. Some good all-rounders, some good batting, spinners, pacers, control, accuracy. Their fielding was good. So they look like they're actually a very good side. However old they are, they actually look like they're a good side. Banana Brooks says, the best pacer and best spinner in tandem should bowl against the best batters, do what the opposition would like least. Yeah, I hear that. So 262. So they interviewed Vittel Laws at halftime, and Vittel said, yeah, we're going to chase this down easily. And in my head, I was like, Jaja, Ute man, what made you come with that bar? What no West Indian should ever say at halftime in any match, yeah, we're going to chase this, in the modern era, we're going to chase this down easily. And I was like, Ute man, don't say that, Ute man. But anyways, he said what he said, right? Super chat from Keshan. Keshan says, obviously, the only man in our team with real potential appears to be Jewel. Pollard looked good as well. Yeah, so I thought this game, again, if you've been following track with some of the videos I did before the start of the tournament, if you're a patron and you saw the Patreon video that I did only for patrons, read the Tanzania game. If you watch the video post Tanzania, if you're watching this video, I have been very clear before this tournament and during this tournament that I felt that the West Indies under-19s team does not have a strong enough batting lineup. And this is not hindsight analysis. Anybody who's been watching what we do on this channel will know. You should be saying at this point, in fairness, Mash, you should be saying, in fairness, Mash did say that. Like I said, 2, 3, 4 months ago, I was informed that Jewel was going to be told to play the Under-19 World Cup. Initially, he wasn't supposed to be playing the Under-19 World Cup. My understanding, I'm saying it again for those who think that sometimes I chat shit, my understanding was that Jewel ultimately was told to play the Under-19 World Cup because they needed a stronger batting lineup. And Jewel still qualifies to play Under-19. So they said, you know what, Jewel, come in. And in fairness to Jewel today, remember, we only made 124. Jewel basically scored half our runs. Jewel was, and here we go. So Fabian Mayers says, Jewel was not a trouble at all, but seemed like his brain left his body with the shot he played. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Fireball says Jewel needs some humbling. Kelly says, I rebuke that comment from Fireball. So let's get into this. Kira says, please don't compare Jewel to Alec. I'm going to defend Jewel here because at the end of the day, right, when Jewel got out, it was... when Jewel got out, when did Jewel get out? Jewel got out when it was 101 for 7. Like, in defense of the Ute man, yeah, okay, his shot was a Dunson Bolsey shot. But at that point of the innings, can you really blame him? Like, no one else had done their job, right? I'm the one guy who's looked like I understand how, like, I'm the one guy in the West Indies team who has got to grips with the pace of the wicket and has picked my shots in terms of run scoring shots and how to manipulate the field, etc. No one else has stuck with me. We're now 7 wickets down. We cannot win this match, right? We're chasing 263 to win. It's 101 for 7. At that point, now, okay, there is a critique. Okay, I'll get to the critique in a second. But at that point, I think Jewel's right to think, let me just play some shots because we aren't winning this game anyways. So I don't blame the Ute man for that. The only critique I will give the Ute man is the next game against South Africa is essentially winner takes all, right? So the only critique I genuinely have of Jewel is, Was there a point in that innings where he should have thought to himself, we're going to lose, but we've got to get as close as we can to Afghanistan because, in fact, no, this doesn't work. Hold on a minute. No, because it's winner takes all. Actually, that point makes no sense because actually just whoever wins out of West Indies and South Africa just goes through. So actually, no, actually there's no critique. This isn't going to boil down to run rate or this, that, because who just ever wins out of West Indies and South Africa just goes through. So actually, allow that chat. I'm not blaming Jewel at all. I'm not blaming him at all. He was the only person who showed that he could bat, and I allow him to die on his sword in that situation. And actually, the innings that Jewel played, so 57 from 70 balls, I think showcased. That innings that he played showcased someone who has clearly been with the senior setup and showcased someone who is clearly further forward in their trajectory than some of these current players in the under-19 setup, right? Anyways, let's talk about some stuff, please. It's going to be... Okay. I'm going to read out to you lot a tweet. I might even share it on the screen because I want to know what you lot think about this tweet and if I'm out of order for tweeting it. Let me show you lot this tweet. In fact, I'll just read it to you. So at 12:06 p.m. today, so about 5 hours ago, I tweeted the following. I'll just read it out to you. I said the following: we have seen how West Indies selectors took a dim view of Rakeem Cornwall's weight issues. So I have no idea what Zachary Carter is expecting to happen if he doesn't sort out his rotund frame. Now, am I out of order for that? Because I felt like Ian Bishop is a far more tolerant man than me, right? To all intents and purposes, Bish is probably the most measured West Indian commentator that we have. He's certainly the most respected. He's the most dignified, and he represents our region well when he's on the mic around the world. I felt like Bish, in a thin, not so thinly veiled way, was just as exasperated with Zachary Carter as my tweet was. If anything, I felt Bish was harsher than me. Because I'm trying to pick my words carefully, because Zachary's a Ute man, right? But we've seen how this played out with Rakeem Cornwall, right? We tried to cut Rakeem Cornwall with a bligh. Rakeem did perform on the international stage in Bangladesh against Afghanistan, scored a couple 50s in Antigua when we played Sri Lanka at home. So we know Rakeem Cornwall has ability. We're not saying that a big man doesn't have ability. But eventually, West Indies said, you know what? You're not cutting the weight. You're not serious. You're not fit. We can't pick you on the international stage. And we can all quibble about whether that's right or whether that's wrong. All I'm saying is this: Zachary Carter is 18, 19 years old. Is he 19, actually? Let me check his age. Let me see if Zach is... how old is Zach? Zachary Carter is... Man just turned 20, actually. So Zachary Carter just turned 20. No, sorry, he's 19. He turns 20 this year, right? So all I'm saying is this. I'm trying to be reasonable, people. I'm trying to be reasonable. I'm not trying to be that guy. But you can't be like that at 19 years old. I know Rakeem was as well. Rakeem might even have been a bit skinnier, you know, because Rakeem looks like he's taller than Zach, right? You can't be like that at 19. Not if you certainly have aspirations to reach the top of your craft. Not in this day and age. Maybe like, I don't know, maybe 30 years ago when people didn't care about diet as much, you could maybe get away with things like that. Like when I was a Ute man, there was man like Merv Hughes rocking about, David Boone. These men look like they drank loads of alcohol before matches, right? But what's Zach's nutrition saying? Like, come on, man, people have to help the man. Like, what's going on? People have to help the man. What's going on out here? Can't be a 19-year-old Ute man and no one ain't helping the man. I don't know. I get that some people are sensitive about this stuff, and I know a couple men going to get in the comments after they've watched this and say, "Oh, no, you're fat shaming," and it ain't even about that. It's more about me saying you shouldn't be 19 years old and be an international athlete representing our region, and man are just looking at you going, "Well, obviously you can't run too." What the hell? What do you mean? Obviously you can't run too? I just had surgery. I just had a big surgery. If you're in the Discord group, I've shown you the scar that I've got, right? No joke. This surgery was no joke, right? I just done surgery and I can run a 2. Even with my bruck down body, I can run a quick 2. And me with my bruck down body and my old granddad legs shouldn't be able to run a 2 better than a 19-year-old youth man. I don't think that's harsh. I don't think that's harsh. I shouldn't be able to run a 2 better than a youth man who's representing my region in the World Cup. No. So whoever's responsible for the cricket back in his island, they need to do something. They need to do something because it's not good enough. And I have to loud it up because sometimes you have to loud it up for people to act. So I'm louding it up. So anyways, his dismissal was poor as well, just swiping across the line. No swiper, no swiping. Most of the dismissals were poor, to be fair. In fairness, Shamar Apple got done by a good one. Josh Dawn is all out of sorts. Again, it's another thing I warned before the World Cup. So much of the foundation of this West Indies batting depends on Andrew and Dawn, and you can't just have one of them come good. You need both of them to come good in an innings to almost set the foundation and basis for the rest of them to add their bits and pieces. Obviously, some will say Tanez Francis as well, right? And only one man showed up. This West Indies team needs, for us to compete against South Africa, at least 3 need to show up in that top 6. And remember, the problem we've got, again, said it before the World Cup started, our lineup is very much an all-rounder lineup. Zachary Carter is a hard-hitting all-rounder. Josh Dawn is an all-rounder. Van Lang's an all-rounder. Matthew Miller's an all-rounder. Shaquan Bell's like a lower-order bowler. There's not many, apart from Tanez Francis and Jewel Andrew, even Shamar Apple's a wicketkeeper, there's not actual many out-and-out batters in that side. Do you get where I'm coming from? Where it's just like, right, your primary role is you bat. There's just one too many. I can do this and I can do that. And sometimes the problem with that is, yes, sometimes that can dig you out of a hole, but other times when you need people to actually regularly stand up, you don't have those go-to, you don't have those kind of go-to clutch players. So Dawn before this World Cup was supposed to be a clutch player. His form's down rotten in the World Cup. And because his form's down rotten, we're scrambling around looking for anybody to help Jewel out. So we don't really have a lot of clutch batters in the top 8. And this is why we would have found something like today kind of difficult to navigate. So anyways, on to, was there another super chat? Sorry. Let's look at some of the comments. So there was a super chat, yeah, from Keshan. Big up Keshan, 3 super chats in this live. Big up Keshan, man, appreciate it. So Keshan said, you discussed how out of shape. You discussed how out of shape and how much titties these men have. The thing is, right? The thing is, I've got no behavior because I actually forget some of the things that I say. I actually forget some of these things that I say when I do a show. And the thing is, I want to say to you, Keshan, that there's no way I said that, but I can actually hear myself having said that. I can hear myself saying that on a show. So anyways, so Keshan says, you discussed how out of shape and how much titties these men have when we played England last month. These fellas look gassed and they're youth men. Afghanistan was so smart making us bowl first. Yeah, listen, they've got to improve their conditioning. It's as simple as that. They simply have to improve their conditioning. Sorry, people. I'm just laughing. I've got no behavior. I'm so sorry, people. I actually have no behavior. So yeah. Yeah, they have to improve their conditioning. And the thing is, so much is like, so much in West Indies cricket is like the great unsaid. Like, people are afraid to say what needs to be said. They just have to improve their conditioning. It's facts. If they genuinely, if anybody, like, not anybody, because it's only a few players we're talking about, but if you aspire to be a international cricketer and make a living out of cricket, you just simply have to improve your conditioning, right? Let me use an example, right? Chris Gale, even up until his old man age, right? Chris Gale was always kind of, people always laughed at and was like, oh, Chris, by the time he's getting older, like, I can't dive around as much. But the thing is, Chris actually kept himself in shape up until his 40s. Chris, even now, right? Chris actually keeps himself in shape, right? He was actually, I mean, we forget that Chris had a heart condition when he was younger, but Chris physically kept himself in shape. So this idea that kind of used to exist of like, oh, Chris is a party man and this, that, but man kept themselves physically in shape. There is no excuse as a professional athlete. The one thing that you can take control of as a professional athlete is your individual fitness. Skills you can be shit, and I'm willing to, like, if you're shit, you're shit, in it. Like, that's not your fault. Like, you can only go so far. You can only work so hard and get to a certain point. But fitness, that doesn't require any special, like, I go to the gym. Let me use myself as an example, right? I go to the gym 3 times a week, right? This is my gym routine, and I'm lazy. I'm a lazy uncle, right? This is my gym routine. Monday, Tuesday, 2 times a week, I cycle 10K on the exercise bike. Like, 2 evenings a week, I cycle 10K. That's it. Don't do nothing else. Cycle 10K. That's 2 days a week. And then 2 other days in the week, I go and do a cardio workout and then like a full body workout. So that's me. 4 times a week, I'm in the gym doing something. And it's not perfect, but for my uncle's stage of life with a 7-year-old daughter, it means that I can still be active when she's trying to take me there to the park or whatever. It means I can still get taken there. So what excuse does a youth man have who's actually trying to do this sport thing as a profession, as an actual profession? Like, there's literally no excuse other than your own laziness. Like, come on, we can't be making excuses for these guys. We can't be. Anyways, maybe that's another podcast for another day. Who's this? Adrian DeLefty. Oh, big up DeLefty. He says players need to stop waiting on the fitness coaches to get them into condition. We are not the best in the world, so our off season can't be on the beach with drinks. Carnival, we need to be disciplined. Yeah, so this is an interesting point. Maybe we should do a podcast about this, but I need to think about what the podcast would be. What do you think it is, people? This was supposed to be all about West Indies versus Afghanistan. Now we're talking about Carnival. But on a serious note, people, what do you think it is that makes some of our, let's just talk about cricket, forget other sports for now, let's just talk about cricket. For the players that are ill-disciplined with their fitness and stuff, do you think it's because in the Caribbean we love to party so much that it's just harder to be disciplined? Like, I'm not saying that I think that. We're having a debate here. I'm intrigued to see, do you think it's our diet, or do you think it's our party culture, or is it another, or do you think it's something else that I'm not thinking about? What makes us so ill-disciplined around condition? Or do you think it's the hot weather? Like, more time the weather's hot, so man don't want to run up and down outside. Like, what do you think it is that makes some of our sports stars so ill-disciplined with the fitness and stuff? Is it the partying? Is it the food? Like, I just had dinner, right? And I just ate a curry goat, white rice, steamed cabbage, some coleslaw, and I had way too much. I had way too much. As I was eating it, I was just yamming off the food. You know when your lips are chopping, just hoovering up the food. And the joke is, I was looking at it going, this is too much, you know, but I just yammed it all down all the same. So what do you think it is? Like, is it the food? Is it the partying? Is it the drink? Is it the weather? Like, I don't know, cuz. I really don't know. Let me know, people. I might do a podcast episode about that, because I genuinely is it also the Gallus thing as well? Because I actually don't like, obviously we're talking about male cricketers at this point in time, and obviously man can love man as well. But do you think do you think it's the Gallus thing? Do you think it's the Gallus thing as well? Like, do you think that, like, men are just hungry? Do you think men are just hungry in all aspects? I need to lock off this live, you know, because I'm getting out of control. I'm getting out of control of this one. This live has gone left. This started off as being about West Indies versus Afghanistan, and the live has just gone left. Oh God. Oh boy, let me lock off the live, man. So Rod says it could partly be due. This is actually a serious point. Rod says it could be partly due to the lack of grassroots structure. But yeah, I think this is a reasonable point as well when it comes to strength and fitness too. Yeah. Do you know what, Rods? I'm actually gonna. Where's my pen? I'm actually gonna write down. I'm actually gonna write down a topic on this, because I actually think it's a serious point to discuss. I'm going to call it Fitness in the Caribbean, and think about how to do a podcast episode on that, because I think it's a serious point. Raku says, wouldn't you get more gal if you were in shape? So I disagree with this, because now I can only speak for the men and women who are in the live right now. Obviously, we all hail from different nations, islands across the Caribbean, right? So I can only speak with my Jamaican hat on. You don't have to be in shape to be a Gallus in Jamaica. I've seen men with some of the biggest belly be able to get gal in Jamaica. And my take on it is this, from a Caribbean perspective, but with a Jamaican lens on it. It's all about the lyrics. It's all about the lyrics you've got. It's not actually about how good you look. It's how good are your lyrics. So when I went to school in Jamaica, that's when I learned to be a lyricist. It's all about how good your lyrics are when you talk to a girl. You can look any old way, but if you can make a girl laugh and you've got lyrics for days, it don't matter how big your belly is, how much your belly is popping off. So yeah, I think it's more a lyrics in thing, to be honest. Nah, hold on. Now my side, Benton needs to allow me. Allow me, man. Oh, but my scar, my side, my chest. I had to just leave that comment up because this whole chat has gone mad right now. Right, okay. Right. Oh my God, where did this live go, people? What did I? If anybody's just joining this live now, you have to wheel this live back up and try and understand how I started off being serious about the Under-19 World Cup, and it's turned into all kinds of conversation about lyrics and big belly, etc. So, anyways, people, I think there was one more. I think there was one more comment. Who had it? Super chat. Super chat from Verdi. Thank you, Verdi, for the super chat. Verdi says, yes, the Afghanistan is a lot older than 19. I thought I was the only one thinking they were over the threshold. Yeah. So interestingly enough, just if we pivot back to that point, just pivoting back to that point, a couple of South Africans private messaged me and said that they've been kicking off about, obviously from the South Africa-Afghanistan game, saying that they've been raising the exact same points, that they're raising scrutiny about how old some of these men are. So that made me feel a bit better, because I thought, am I doing that kind of, when I started kicking off about it, saying these men look old, I was like, am I doing that Western European thing where you start kind of talking down to people from elsewhere in the world? And I was mindful of raising the age thing because of that. And then I just said, nah, man, these men are old though. Like, it's nothing to do with that. These men look old, and I should be able to say that these men look old. So it just kind of is what it is, you know. Oh yeah, good point. Obama Prosper says, remember when you spoke to the academy coach and he said that when the boys were in India, the youngsters got cramps in their arms because they weren't used to batting for hours on end? Yeah, it's all part of the fitness thing, man. This is all part of the fitness issue that we might have in the Caribbean. Jim Fawcett says, my Australian football team won 3 cups in 4 years due to their elite fitness, not their skills. Being fit's the easiest leveler. You can't tell me Aussie man with all their drinking are more healthy. Good point. So for those of you who know me well enough, you know that I support Bromley Football Club. So Bromley Football Club are currently top of League 2 in England. It's only our second ever year in the Football League, and we're first in League 2 this season with 20 games to go. And so our manager, I interview him a lot because I do a lot of media stuff around the football as well, and Bromley and blah, blah. And every time I interview him, he always says to me, he's always like, Mash, we have the fittest team in the league. He says, I am certain of it, that Bromley have the fittest team in the league. So yesterday, I went up to Chesterfield. We drew 0-0, Chesterfield 0, Bromley 0. And I spoke to him after the match, and I said to him, because loads of the teams behind Bromley right now are all buying loads of players. So Chesterfield have bought 6. Everybody below Bromley is like up in their squads because they're trying to catch us, right? And he said to me, I have no doubt that other teams in this league have better individual players than us, but we have the best squad collective. And then he said, and then he said, and when you add on the fact that we're the fittest team in the league, that is why we can outperform other teams. His argument was simply that Bromley outwork other teams. We're not the best team in the league, but we are fitter and outwork other teams. And he's adamant that that takes you far. So I look at our team that played today, and I look at a couple men on the team and say, you ain't fit though. You ain't fit. And I know you ain't fit because even Bish, who don't even like to cuss, was basically cussing, saying you ain't fit. Like, come on. Like, that's a big problem for me. That's a big problem. When even Bish is saying stuff, you know it has to be a problem. Mr. 2 more minutes, people, then I'm wrapping this one up. Mr. Dana 39 says, it all comes down to the infrastructure in the local regions. All first division cricket clubs in the region should have a mini gym in it and fitness requirements to play for the clubs. Okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. You know what, Mr. Dana? This goes back to me saying that I need to think about a podcast episode around this, because a cricket club should have a gym, or at least have access to a gym. But then it wouldn't surprise me. The thing is, it's bigger than that for me, Mr. Dana, because say you play club cricket now. Here's the thing. And I think there's that news that's just come out of Barbados that they're setting up a semi-professional cricket league next season or something like that, where players are going to get paid. But here's the thing in the Caribbean, and I could be mistaken. If anybody knows any cricketers in the Caribbean that are willing to come on and talk about it, please direct them to me. But here's the thing. As a cricketer in the Caribbean, if you're not at the top level, I actually think the expectation is on you to pay for your, well, not, why am I even saying I think? It just is, right? You have to do everything, right? You have to pay for your own net session. you have to pay for your gym session, right? You have to go into the gym. No one ain't giving. Well, I'd love to know at the regional levels. Let's actually talk about actually, let's talk about, forget club cricket, because we done know already the club cricketers have to pay for everything. So let's talk about the franchise cricketers. Those cricketers in the region. I might have to reach out to someone like Josh Da Silva to see what he tells me. But he might not be able, players like that might not be able to talk on the record. This is the thing, right? If you are a franchise contracted player, whether for Trinidad, Jamaica, Barbados, Guyana, Leewards, Windwards, etc., within that contract and that 100,000, 75,000, whatever it is you're getting paid for the year to be a professional cricketer, there should be an S&C coach hired for your franchise, right? But what happens, and I've always asked this question, what is the day-to-day, week-to-week routine for a domestic franchise contracted cricketer? Who's controlling your schedule for the week? Or are you expected to control your schedule for the week? And I don't mean just when we're getting ready for Super 50 or just when we're getting ready for 4-day championship. I'm talking about the whole year round, because you're contracted. So who's actually running the contracted hours? Who's running the sessions, or is it every man for themselves out of season? This is what I genuinely want to know. Because if it's every man for themselves out of season, then bare man are running to KFC then. Bare man are running to KFC. How many cricketers do you think eat KFC on a regular? How many West Indian cricketers? Because obviously we've got an addiction to KFC in the Caribbean, right? So how many West Indian cricketers or cricketers who qualify to play for the West Indies nyam up KFC on a regular? How many of them do you think do? Because when I was in Trinidad and when I've been in Jamaica, let's just speak for Trinidad and Jamaica, right? In Trinidad and Jamaica, those two countries love up KFC to the point where they're queuing around the block for KFC. And that's just your ordinary citizens. So you mean to tell me cricketers aren't doing it as well? So come on, man. We need to have a big conversation about this. Is it just Trinidad and Jamaica, by the way? Is KFC, are there any like Guyanese, Bajans, Kititians, Dominicans? Can anybody from any of the other nations, can you tell me if KFC is loved as much in your nation as it is in Trinidad and Jamaica? Trinidad and Jamaica, man are killing for KFC. So is it just Trinidad and Jamaica, or is it the same everywhere? Apparently the Guyanese love KFC as well. So what are we saying? KFC just dominate in the Caribbean. St. Lucia, KFC is delicious in St. Lucia. KFC just dominate in the Caribbean, you know. This is why West Indies are shit. KFC is to blame for West Indies. Look, Kira says KFC is dominating Dominica. Jaja. KFC just dominate in the Caribbean right now. Boy. KFC sponsored TKR, so it's understandable. Raku says that Guyana's got Wendy's now, so it might get worse. I've never had Wendy's before, actually. Anyways, listen, people, I think that's enough from me. That's a good chat, people. We started about the under-19 team. We started with the under-19 team. We ended up with big bellies and KFC and fitness and strength and conditioning and how to get gal. So if you weren't in at the beginning, go back to the start and try and watch what you can. And obviously comment below, people. Thank you to those who sent a super chat, much appreciated. In terms of the schedule for the rest of the week, let me just tell you what's happening. So tomorrow, West Indies senior men's team plays Afghanistan. That starts at 2:30 UK time. So what's that? That's like 10:30 a.m. Eastern Caribbean time. I'll do a live call-in show tomorrow night. We've got with Shane Dietz, the women's head coach. He's recording something with me and Santoki next week, so look out for that to drop. I'm doing another top 5 video. This time, the top 5 video is going to be on the top 5 West Indian commentators. So look out for that. What else are we doing this week? Santoki and I will do a review of the Afghanistan T20 series this week as well. So look out for that. What else am I missing? There's probably something else that we're doing. Oh, there's a live watch along for the 3rd T20. So look out for that. And there's probably some other stuff as well. So, yeah, if any of those topics interested you, get in the comments, send me an email, whatever it might be, and say, "Oh, Mash, could you do this? Could you do that?" Etc. Etc. Kira Merch, did you email me? I think I got an email. Was it you? Was it Kira who emailed me? I definitely got an email this morning, or saw an email this morning about merch. If it was you, I'll get back to you ASAP. So I'll get to that email soon enough to try sort that out for you. I just shipped a maroon CCP shirt to the United States people. So if you're interested in overseas shipping, let me know. If it's to the Caribbean though, people, the best bet with the Caribbean, shipping to the Caribbean's long. So if you want merch, but in the Caribbean, other than waiting for me to get to the Caribbean, the other option is if you know somebody who's in the UK who's coming home, depending on where your nation or island is, let me know and I can always ship it to them if they're in the UK or in Europe somewhere. And then they can get it to you that way. That tends to be a lot cheaper than trying to actually ship to the United States or the Caribbean. Europe and the UK is straightforward, but yeah, get in the comments, not get in the comments, email me people if you're interested. Right, last few comments and then let me wrap this show up. Herb says, in Trinidad, we will literally have fetes that cost $200, $300 with steak shrimp, but there will also be KFC available. Mad. KFC available at a fete. Ask Shane about fitness for the... Yeah, do you know what? Actually, Benton, I don't know if any of you have been watching the women's T20 Blaze. So I've been trying to keep on track with the T20 Blaze as well. Yeah, that applies as well to the T20 Blaze. So anyone who's like, "Oh, Mash, you're out of order, you're just cussing out the under-19s." No, I could make those exact same comments about some of the players in the T20 Blaze. And I'm not just talking about some of the women who just happen to be playing because they're available. I'm talking about some of the women who are actually in the West Indies women's team or on the outskirts or fringes of the West Indies women's team. It ain't good enough. Like, this is a region-wide problem we're talking about here. Atush says, can you ship to Sweden? Yep. I've got some friends who live in Sweden. So I might even be able... In fact, funny enough, Atush, I was in Sweden 2 weeks ago. I was in Göteborg just when it started snowing. I was slipping and sliding all over the place. So yeah, I go to Sweden more regularly than you would imagine, Atush. But yeah, can ship there. Email me, Machel at... What's my email? Machel at Machel at caribbeancricket.news. You can email me there if you want information about shipping stuff. And then lastly, Herb with the super chat right at the end, just as about to call it off. Thank you, Herb, for the super chat. Thank you to Verdi for the super chat. Thank you to Keshan for the super chats as well. And thank you for you lot being along for this live today. That was fun and enjoyed that one. And we'll be back tomorrow. Live call-in show if you want to call in. Monday night call-in show. And yeah, look out for some content, people. And I'll see you all very, very soon.
West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.